Very interesting. Very interesting. I guess it's just because I got a different take on where we all come from. And most people go straight to a religion. I just cannot do it. I'm sorry, I can't. And it would be a lie, it would. And then therefore that would be a sin, wouldn't it? Which probably would be. I just cannot do it. And I don't mean to offend anybody at all. What I'm trying to do is say that, I respect your religion and everything else, and Jewish seems to make the most sense. I think Egyptian, I love the Egyptians, the whole understanding of the Egyptians, religious or not. It's possible, I suppose. But for me personally, I can't do it. I can't do it. I believe that we are beings on this planet to share with other beings, and we're to find ourselves at the same time as finding each other. It's interesting. And it's kind of hard to walk that if not everybody is coming from that sort of mindset, let's say. Because, it would be doing a lot for one and then everyone stabbing you in the back for the other. I mean, that's kind of a weird situation to be in. But I do believe in beings, multiple beings on this planet, multiple beings. And that's not just beings being humans, it's also animals, and it's also nature. Yeah, why not? Let's go, why not? So, to disregard animals? No. I can't do that either. So, speciesism? It's kind of a bit weird to me. That's a weird topic. That we select one species over the others. Okie dokie. I just think that some of the things that we do are strange. Like, we favour one animal and view it as a pet, and another animal and we view it as food. That's interesting. Let's just hope we're not food for some ET, hey? No, actually, I don't believe. I think that there would be beings that would want to get on with other beings. Yeah, I'm definitely down with that. And therefore, I just believe, I guess, that some people believe in religion and will make a heaven, I guess. If you believe it enough, you might create it. There you are. The universe made you once a thinking being and put you in a vessel already. So it's proven that this recipe has been done once. So when you die, I believe that it can be done again, but with different beings. I think, believe, feel, know in my core that I think if you come from that material, you are, if there is any other beings, intelligent or otherwise, would favour you a lot. Why would they favour you? Well, it's exactly what they're about. You are aligning with what they are. And as much as it works here on a human perspective to be hierarchy governed, I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, by the way, and just have one leader. I think that this is a different take on that when you die, that you have multiple leaders that all band together, and because they common and resonate together, the core objective is to go and collect other beings of like-mindedness. Yeah, and I think that where if you believe in a different thing, and you're so into that and will bow down to stuff, and I don't know, doesn't make any sense to me. And the universe, I have to get through all the whole universe, and if there was a god or devil, again, just this is so corny. No offense, by the way, I just feel it in me. If I even try and resonate to it, I feel corny, literally. And if there was or wasn't, then there was, let's say, and they were like, hey, yo, why did you not believe in us? I'm pretty sure that if there was a God, it would present itself in some way. But anyway, the universe cooked me up from splice of a splice of a splice. The medium is where I want to go, and I will return. And you see, that's just it. That's the difference here. That can be laughable. That can also be a religion in itself. Perhaps. Maybe. But I just think that if you align to it, it opens up and then you begin to see and you can't stop seeing. It's very weird. Like I don't know, it's not a parallel universe. I'm not down with all of that. Heavy atoms, yeah, I'm up for that. An atom within 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 an atom. Yeah, I'm down with that as well. That resonates. The core being of what made you you, the core being of what made an animal. Nature, and I guess it likes being it. And if it could be it in a more eternal existence, I think it would also choose to be in existence for eternity. Much like a human, much like an animal, much like anything else that you would ever come across, will always want to exist. It's interesting. And not humans wouldn't have to create a tool of existence if another species had already done it. That's the thing. That's the most beautiful thing. But it's information then sharing, isn't it? Pretty much on a very bigger pedestal than that. That the information that you would share becomes unified information. And what is done elsewhere then can be shared on in a unified way. So each being supports the others, and the others support the new beings. You know, I think that's a much more realistic approach from myself that doesn't feel corny. It doesn't feel like it's make-believe. It feels real. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So I guess I'm waffling on this one, and I will. And I feel like I want to, so I will. That's what I'm doing. But yeah, I don't know. Atom 3. Maybe there's more. Sure. And I wonder if you traverse a universe and become more and more into it. And let's say you were a human form this time, and then you went to another planet and was another form of being that time. Maybe because you wanted to help the species that existed or resides or resided on these rocky bodies. Maybe you went and mixed around with different DNAs and put it here, put it there, put it everywhere, and tried out new things to make even more better beings than yourself. I mean, that is a hell of a pedestal, isn't it? That if you were a collective, and a collective being one, that you would go on to do that, that you would give up. You see, that would be it, wouldn't it? That you would even do that. Would you do it? Yes, you would. You do it anyway. So is it, guess that's within everything then, is it? Or is that bit put in you? You know, this experimenting? The whole cages and animals and stuff, it's kind of weird. That's very weird, but whatever, I guess. It's kind of strange. Could you imagine if another set of species, beings, did the same thing to other beings for food? Man. Let's hope and pray that I am a great believer as well that there are good and that there are bad. Two. Always. Two. So where you have some that want to come together as one, you have others that do not. They detest it just as much as we admire and love coming together. There are others that do not share that passion. I guess that type of evilness is within everything. So it's not that the collective wouldn't become evil. That's not true. No one ever said that they couldn't. It's a choice. It's a choice to do that, and it's a choice not to do it. But where you favor one more choice over the other, which is not true either, because it's just not true. You would, in your eyes, I guess, in a good and an evil then becomes apparent, and then it's your perspective of what you feel is good and evil. Leave on and let it naturally fizzle out. But to do nothing with a species is no different from going down and eradicating them. Is it? Or is it because it's more natural? It's an interesting question. I pose it to you. And then how many times do you come down to help another species? If you were a species traveling out into space and you come across a planet and it had life on there, primitive but intelligent nonetheless, would you go down and show them how to draw? Well, you'd have to, because drawing is the universal language, or at least it's the first to be learned. Most intelligent species would understand that because they see another, and it's then being taught that if you teach them that. And then technology would get better and better and better. And then let's say you were to survive a cycle, and then another cycle, and then another cycle, and then another cycle. How much of a perspective would you condense and make a super perspective on everything? How much more would you know? Then how much of that knowing would you condense? And that more condensed knowing, then therefore more learning is there. Condense, learn, condense. That's an awful lot of knowing. How much would you share? If you saw a discrepancies, let's say a supercomputer, but one that is so much more advanced than anything that you would ever be able to understand, that could show you their species on fast forward, but blink of an eye, and they've got a very long way. And the computer could be so intelligently made that it could stop at intervals of changes that were a lot of information put into the systems, let's say, that could then stop speeding it up at a time when attention needs to be paid because something really bad is starting to happen with the species. And if you knew that that could happen and you intervened, is that not like playing God? Technically, because you do something to stop that from happening. That's interesting. That is a very interesting question. Would you do that? Would you interfere? Or would you just leave it all naturally to run its course and then... You wouldn't. You definitely wouldn't. Therefore, you've put in a lot of time, energy, and effort, right? Reading and writing. Ooh, texts. Ooh, pictures. Ooh. More information. So, I mean, once you put in an awful lot, would you allow it to continue the whole process of where it needs to pay attention to a certain time? And then if you could fast forward how they would communicate that when you put this information in front of them, how long it would take based on calculations. Bit like Mayan calendars. Let's just take that for example. You know, would you then be able to calculate when they're going to have a change, when they're going to do this, when this is going to happen, when that is going to happen? And then everything's about cycle. So reset and off it goes again. And then next time. There'll always be a time to pay attention, to pay attention, to pay attention. Technologies get better. What if you could find a way, in this instant, you come across a planet that has life on it, and you could tweak what they are made of and create something that's a blank version of what they are? And you could somehow apply that bit of your knowing into it and travel down. Wouldn't that... Let's do it a different way. No, we can't do it a different way because it's a bit weird. So if you were wanting to spy on someone, that's a better way to put it. Let's say, and there was a group of individuals. What if you could become one of the individuals? Just a question. How much information would you gather? Would they listen to you? Would they freak out and go, go, ghost, or alien? Because remember, you'd look different to them, I'm sure, if you happened across this imaginary planet somewhere and there was life on it, primitive but intelligent. You go down and tweak some stuff in the beginning days, this, and this. They see some pictures somewhere. Oh, yes, good, good, good. And they learn different things, understanding, thinking, process, booming, boom, boom, boom. Interesting. And then you happen to show yourself. What do you think would happen? Mass panic? It would be quite something. After all this time of being alone in the doop, a little drop in the ocean. Then their technologies. You sure you're away from the tribal instincts yet? I mean, after all of that as well. It would be very interesting experiment indeed. And then if they've got hierarchy and different stuff like that, they're a little bit fractured here, there, and everywhere. Could they try and take your stuff? Possible. Very possible. You see, this would have to be played out. This would have to be discussed at length. What would you do? How would you do that? Well, I think then after time and time and time and more time, and you have got technology, much like technology is here, and it has been growing. But first cycle, not so great. Second cycle, definitely better. Up to the 9th cycle, oh, you're mamma mia, this is working well. And then you would have the capabilities. Take a scoop of this one. You have everything you need to know from the days they were primitive. Interesting. Very interesting. And then you run away with that. DNA. And you would learn how to make an alternate version. Let's say, how do you make meat in a lab? How do you grow meat in a lab? Well, what is a human body? Meat. Ironically, we're not on the food chain. Sort of. It's meat. We are nothing more than flesh. Bits of food on legs. Interesting. What if you could take a part of your knowing and then artificially put it in? You'll live, breathe, get ill, experience sickness. It's fate. It must be fate. No. You use a word called karma, don't you? Karma. Not part and parcel of the natural processes. And expect everything in this form to stay as it is. That's weird. That is strange. So like an avatar. You have an avatar. You be the avatar. How do you know you're not an avatar? How many of you know that you are or you're not? Shepherds or sheep? Interesting. Sheep be led by shepherds. But sheep can't be taught. Maybe they could. But wouldn't that require some splicing? Wouldn't that require some manipulation? Sheep can't talk. Interesting. Interesting. Do you honestly believe that? Do you think that if enough time went by, do you think that you could put this into another animal to have it vocal, talk, communicate, think? Interesting. Interesting. It's happened once, ain't it? That you know of. It's happened once because we're living and experiencing this thing called life right now. And I say I'm unique and you say you're unique and everyone's unique and we're all different from one another. Interesting. Are you though? This is all a virtual reality. Okay. That would be interesting. What a game. Bit too realistic in times. Quite a few questions, but still running on because I warm up, literally, and I'm warming up to it. This is a follow-up from another video that I did a few days ago. So, very interesting. Probably didn't come out as best as it should have done, and I probably pissed off a load of people while doing it, and I don't mean to. That I don't mean to do. I just want to respectfully respect your understanding of the way life is after this, if being the big word in the middle of all of that, before it, during it, after it, either or. And I respectfully respect all of those views and viewpoints, but I also would like to have the respect in the same respect that I would like to have my viewpoint, which might be different to some others. So, yeah, searching for a God? I have. I really have. I've tried my hardest. I'm just not sure. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, it doesn't fit for me. But sharing species with other species, maybe that's because I'm on the Earth, right? And we're all on the Earth, and we're all sharing it with different species. Interesting. And perhaps that might spill over elsewhere. Very interesting. Stars included, by the way, and planets. Why not? Everything. Interesting. Hmm. Hmm. The good bits. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, unity. Unity, yeah, I like unity. I understand that a bit better. Maybe. It's very disorientating here, to be honest, on Earth. I think it is. I think this is quite a complex situation to be in. Very disorientating. But I'm not sure it's naturally supposed to be like that. I just think that there are a lot of people that like to spin, 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 spin. Interesting. But it's pretty much what the planet's doing, spinning, whilst we are spinning and rotating and more spinning. But yeah, still, the clock, the calendars, the calculation, the bit to take a look at. Well, I don't know. But it's ironic to say it though, the ones that join together last the longest, and the ones that are all about themselves and their groups do not. Because they die in battle. It's interesting, isn't it? All their numbers deplete. Interesting. Yep, pretty much.